Those were the top headlines we are tracking for you. Good afternoon, everyone. You're watching the second edition of Market Fatafat. I'm Mubina Kapasi. Markets, meantime, looking well, a bit subdued. We're sort of seeing some profit booking kicking in at the record high levels that the market managed to touch yesterday. Remember, we had crossed 12,100. Today as well, even after the sell-off, we are seeing 12,000 being sustained. So really no complaints, just 45 odd points gone for the Nifty. The Sensex, meantime, is cooling off to the tune of approximately 116 points. Broader markets comparatively a little more resilient, but absolutely flat with a positive bias. Today's show, of course, and every show is, every Market Fatafat is, of course, all about individual movers and shakers. So we're going to talk about just that. And for that, we're joined by Soumya Sharma, 18 Hours research analyst. And on the technicals, we have with us Ashish Kyal of Wave Strategy Advisors and Manav Chopra of Indiabulls Ventures. Good afternoon to all of you. Thank you for joining in. And Soumya, of course, the big news for today is coming in from Fitch, the downgrade for ICICI and Axis Bank's papers.
Well, yes, banks' long-term issuer default rating has been downgraded by Fitch by one notch to BB positive from BBB negative. Well, this downgrade is on back of Fitch's concern about the entire operating environment under which these banking companies are operating in, and they believe that the tough working environment requires more buffers in order to meet these tough conditions. In fact, banks IDR are now rated junk or below investment grade post this rating revision. ICICI and both Axis opened in red. However, Axis had paid those opening losses and is trading in green, but ICICI still is trading in red, down by over 0.7% today in trade.
All right, that of course is ICICI and Axis Bank, but look at the way Axis Bank has actually ticked up. Just in the last couple of minutes, it's risen and it's at the day's high. In fact, on this news, we caught up earlier with Saswita Guha of Fitch Ratings to understand more in detail the rationale for this downgrade. Listen into that conversation.
Arguably some green shoots, early signs of recovery that one is able to see in select banks, including ICICI and Axis. But by and large, when you review an operating environment and it's at a level lower than what it used to be, what it implies is that essentially institutions which are working or operating in a weaker operating environment must have significantly higher buffers. What we're effectively saying is that banks are underwriting BB range risks.
Okay, well, continuing with the countdown then, Ashish, look at the sort of movement we are seeing in NTPC, and this move is not just limited today, but for the last couple of sessions. Of course, we have the big ET now news break as well, that the merger with SJVN may be back on the cards. But yeah, what would you make of this uptick in NTPC?
See, the overall trend for NTPC looks to be on the upside, and we are if the trend can continue higher, one can use a stop loss of 131.50 for target of 142.
All right, so that's NTPC. It's a clear-cut buy from Ashish. Tata Steel today as well is something that is looking pretty perky. We do have, in fact, brokerages talking about the stock price. One brokerage has maintained a buy with a target price at 730 rupees, as they like the fact that this one has a strong deleveraging story. Yes, the European JV may be cancelled for now, and they are scouting for options. So that is something that does cause brokerage houses to retain their conviction on the fact that there is a deleveraging story here, and it is the most preferred ferrous play as well. Tata Steel, however, has cooled off quite a bit from the day's high, once again sub the 500 rupee mark. Manav, while most of the market seems to be edging lower, we are seeing resilience in Wipro as the buyback news has developed. What would you make of the move seen in Wipro?
See, the overall momentum in this index has been quite positive, and especially when the markets are choppy, we expect Wipro has shown some sort of an outperformance in the past. Recently, it has bounced from its important support levels, and the momentum indicators are still positive. I sense this momentum would continue, and we could see a new high in making for the stock. Currently, there are good volumes built up. So at the current zone, I believe that on the upside, we could see targets of 320. The important support for the stock is at 285. And we recommend a buy. It's overall bullish at the current zone.
All right, so it's a bullish stance coming in for Wipro 1% higher. By the way, take a look at Adani Ports, and I'll request my producer to just pull up the intraday charts because the board of directors of the company has approved a share buyback. We could perhaps see some uptick come by in the stock price. Do remember, a buyback essentially means that the company is going to be going into the market and buying back shares from the retail shareholders, from the ordinary shareholders. And yes, as expected, there's a sharp uptick come by in the stock price. Now, in fact, it's surged to 0.8%. 3.92 crore shares is what has been approved, and a price point of 500 rupees. So a nice 5%, a 5% higher than what the current market price is. That's, of course, Adani Ports for you now at 430 rupees. Okay, let's continue then. And Soumya, L&T Tech, what's the news over there?
Well, yes, L&T is looking to sell close to about 40.34 lakh of shares of L&T Tech, which represents close to about 3.8% of the total paid up equity share capital of L&T Tech. And the floor price has been set as 1,650 per share. The offer for sale opens today for the non-retail investors, and for the retail investors, it opens tomorrow. So that's what, and keeping the stock under pressure today, 1.8% down in trade.
All right, that's L&T Tech, slipped considerably, now down 1.8% at the day's low. Ashish, it's interesting to see that TCS, after rallying for almost, I think, 4 to 5 continuous trading sessions, is now taking a breather. What do you make of the move?
See, the overall trend for TCS is definitely positive, and I think the dip should be used as a buying opportunity. We can expect a move higher towards the level of 2306, and stop loss can be used at 216.
Okay, it's a clear-cut buy on a TCS still, regardless of the move seen today. Coal India, meantime, is something that one must flag off. Remember that month after month, quarter after quarter, the company has been missing the production targets to the extent that last month, and in fact for the last 2-3 months, they have not been putting their production numbers, their actual production numbers versus the targets. In fact, they've just been showing the growth on a year-on-year basis. It's interesting to note that they have set a target for FY20 and they are targeting an 8.5% production growth. So based versus what they did in FY19, they are targeting an uptick of 8.5%. But after so many months of missing production targets, let's see if Coal India is able to meet it in FY20. The stock price higher by 0.4%. Manav, HUL was as well one of the stocks that was at a record high level yesterday in trade, but we are seeing some profit booking set in today as well in this one. And mind you, the up move has been consistent for the last few trading sessions in HUL. You have a positive stance over here?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, the prices did witness a breakout on the daily charts yesterday, which was accompanied by above average volumes. And it has important support around the levels of 1810 to 1800. So as long as these support hold, I believe this uptrend would continue, and we could see higher levels for the stock going forward. Importantly, on the weekly charts also the trend is still positive, and the momentum indicators does not show any divergence, which is hinting that this momentum would continue. So at the current zone, maybe 1 or 2 days of consolidation, eventually we can expect this stock to move higher. We expect an upside target of 1870 into this stock.
Okay, 1870 in fact is what Manav believes the stock could move to. Soumya, M&M, meantime, yesterday there was a lot of buzz with respect to a block deal that took place. Finally, details emerge.
Well, yes, in fact, M&M is focused today for a couple of reasons. First being Mahindra System and Mitsui of Japan are co-investing in solar power projects in India, and the companies would be distributing and developing solar projects in India. Apart from this, like you said, there was a deal wherein CDPQ having bought 2.1 crore shares at the price of 648 per share, and the seller being Mahindra & Mahindra Benefit Trust. As a result of the entire deal, they've invested close to about 1,244 crore rupees in Mahindra & Mahindra. Let's see how the company uses these funds and what's the way forward.
All right, M&M, a third of a percent higher. Ashish, regardless of the FMCG space taking a bit of a breather today in trade, Tata Global is resilient as ever. What do you make of this move, seen?
Absolutely, Tata Global has broken the resistance of around 240 and is showing a very strong up move. I think this is the third leg on the upside, and we can expect it to reach towards 265.80 levels. Use a stop loss of 245.55.
All right, it's a buy on Tata Global Beverages from Ashish. The cement space is a buzz today in trade, right from India Cements to Ambuja Cements. All of them are falling, and how this after turns out that cement companies are seeing price cuts coming by. This may be to the tune of 15 to 25 rupees per kg. This is what dealers are telling us at this point of time. Prices, this is in the southern region, 15 to 25 rupees per kg. There may be price cuts in the north in the range of 10 to 20 rupees per bag. During April to May 2019, remember, there was a sharp rise seen across regions, but now in the absence of demand, cement companies have started cutting back on prices, perhaps a partial rollback of the price hikes taken, and all cement companies are reacting to that big source-based story that ET now has broken first. So that's India Cement down 4.3%. Manav, Symphony, meantime, it's an interesting move seen over here. It's declining today in trade. Your view?
See, yes, in fact, Symphony has witnessed a very sharp rally in last couple of trading sessions. It has rallied from its lows of 1150 towards 1560. I think some sort of a breather would come into the stock, but that definitely keeps the trend on the upside. This short-term decline should eventually be used as an opportunity to enter long position. The important support for this stock is around 1430, 1420. So further downside into the stock would provide cushion on the lower side, and that would provide a good risk reward. I believe in the near-term perspective, the stock would resume its uptrend because the momentum is still positive and the oscillators are in the bullish zone. We expect an upside target of 1550 for Symphony in the near-term perspective.
Okay, 2.5% gone for Symphony as we speak. Soumya, what's keeping G Power active in trade?
Well, this is one stock that's gaining smartly today on back of order wins. They've won close to about 740 crore of projects from Aravali Power, which is a joint venture company of NTPC, Haryana Power Generation Company, and Indraprasth Power Generation Company, and that's what's keeping the stock active and gaining smartly by over 3.6%, although often the day is high, but still trading green.
All right, IDBI Bank meantime, and today PSU Bank seem to be pretty active in trade, but I think of all of them, it's IDBI Bank that's showing a lot of activity. 8% higher now for this bank. Remember, it's been quite an underperformer for the last 6 months, for the last 1 year, where it's dwindled down from 60, 65 odd rupees to just now 40 rupees, and it's really stayed at those levels. But however, ahead of the RBI monetary policy, you are seeing significant activity come by in the stock price. 2 crore shares as well traded on this counter, 8% higher, and now it's making its way towards 40 rupees. Soumya, let's talk about Swaraj Engines. There's a bulk deal activity there too.
Well, yes, Mahindra and Mahindra have bought close to 1.8 lakh shares at the price of 1,387 per share, with the seller being Jupiter India Fund. The stock's gaining smartly today by over 2.65%, again down from the day's high, but still trading in green and is active in trade.
Okay, quick break right here on Market Fatafat. Do come right back. We'll continue with the countdown of the big movers and shakers. Welcome back. You're watching Market Fatafat right here on ET Now. Let's continue with the countdown of the big movers and shakers and take a look at Mindtree. Yes, in the cash market, you are seeing that subdued move, 1.2% down. But interestingly, significant OI build up over there. In fact, it's the top OI gainer, a nice 40.5% uptick seen over there in the open interest. Manav, what are you observing?
The prices have breached its important intraday support of 975. So as long as the prices are trading below this levels, we will witness some sort of a selling pressure on the upside, and in the near term perspective, the prices could also see a series of decline as it has breached this support after 10 days of consolidation. I believe in the near term the stock could test the levels of 930, and this could happen in a day or two, but on the upside, as long as 980 is not breached, we could expect lower levels to be achieved in Mindtree.
That's Mindtree, and Manav has a bearish stance over there. Soumya, what's the news on Dr. Reddy's, because that stock too is buzzing in trade today?
Well, yes, this one's a little active in trade, and it's basically a more than active, it's a volatile stock that's in trade today, down in green, coming back in red. So that's what is all about stock price movement as far as Dr. Reddy is concerned. But at the same time, they've announced a relaunch of Zenitane in the US market. Well, this drug is used to treat severe cystic acne, and that's the latest update coming from as far as Dr. Reddy is concerned.
Well, yeah, look at the way the stock actually tanked and then recovered so swiftly on an intraday basis just in the beginning of the trading session. Certainly something to watch out for. All right, 2.8% gone for Dr. Reddy's. Ashish, Whirlpool, meantime, regardless of the market direction, I think for the last 6 to 7 trading session, this one has been on its way up. You believe there is more room for an uptick here?
Yes, absolutely. Whirlpool has continued to move in a broader range, and within this range, it's now moving upward towards the upper end of the range. So I think we can expect a target of 1611 and stop loss of 1487 can be used.
So that's a buy on Whirlpool. BEL meantime, and yes, the company had come out with its fourth quarter numbers earlier. The management is now guiding for 13 to 15% revenue growth in FY20. Remember, this is something he had told ET now as well. He was confident of margins as well, sustaining at the levels which we saw, in the higher range during FY19. So that as well is pretty good. On order book as well is something he had spoken. The stock price, by the way, has seen a very smart recovery from those 80 rupees and 90 rupees levels now. In fact, it's at 114 rupees, 2% higher. Manav, it's interesting to see that Godfrey Phillips, we had seen the stock fall. There was that negative news that came in as well on the stock, or rather there were fears with respect to the new health minister being a bit more hawkish on the cigarette business. Today, however, it's higher in trade. Your recommendation here?
See, the prices have witnessed a series of decline and is now trading near its important long-term averages. Since the oscillators are bouncing from its oversold levels, I believe if the short-term support of 910 is held, we could see a trading bounce towards the levels of 965. So at the current zone, I think one can take a contra bet as the risk-reward ratio is favorable, and we could see a short-term bounce rally of 5 to 8%. So one can also place a stop loss below 910 for a short-term perspective.
Okay, so that's the recommendation then coming in on a Godfrey Phillips. Samya, what's the news in ICICI Lombard?
Well, this one's active in trade and is gaining for the fourth straight session, supported by robust traded volumes. In fact, in the last 4 days, the stock has gained by approximately 9%. So this one's really buzzing for the last few days, and keeping in momentum with the last few days, it's gaining close to about 2.2% today in trade.
Okay, so great uptick seen in an ICICI Lombard, fourth straight day of gains. Ashish, Jubilant Life, however, after that brief breather, once again it resumes its decline. You have a sell here.
Yes, absolutely. Jubilant Life has failed to show any kind of a positive retracement and has continued to move lower. I think it's best to be in the direction of trend which is currently negative. So one can short at CNG, stop of 481 and target of 443.
Clear-cut sell on Jubilant Life. PSU banks, of course, are all abuzz in trade. Yes, it is the RBI policy that's keeping these stocks active after hopes are pinned that there may be at least a 25 bips rate cut in the in the coming MPC outcome. But reports are suggesting a very interesting merger. Indian Bank, Corporation Bank and OBC, these three may be clubbed. Remember that consolidation in the PSU banking space is something that most market experts believed was coming. We already did see it with Vijay and Dena merging into BOB. And now there is that OBC merger with Indian Bank and Corporation Bank that is doing the rounds, and it's this news that's keeping all three stocks in fact very active in trade, gaining in trade very smartly, perhaps lifting sentiment for the PSU banking space. On the flip side, the cement space certainly is down and about in trade. We flagged off Indian Cements. Let's just get into technical perspective on what one should do then with some names like these. And let's understand on Ambuja Cement. Manav, a big reaction seen over there. Your view?
Yes, in fact, the overall structure for the cement space has been quite positive, and Ambuja is also showing good amount of a bullish structure. Yes, it has declined since it tested its important resistance level, but looking at the overall structural formation on the weekly charts, I sense that this dip should be a good opportunity to enter at long positions. There is an important support around the zone of 220-225, and I believe in the short term, if the prices test these levels, one should definitely initiate long positions, but in the near term perspective, will not be surprised to see if we break out this resistance and we could rally towards 245. Overall, I maintain a bullish stance and I recommend a buy on dips approach.
Buy on dips for Ambuja Cement. Soumya, what's the news on Shrey?
Well, talking about Shrey, we have a latest update that NCLT has cleared Shrey's plan for Deccan Chronicle. In fact, the tribunal has approved the resolution plan of Shrey Multiple Asset Investment Trust Vision Fund involving 408.1 crore in cash, certain high-value assets and a share in IPL team Deccan Chargers to be distributed among 37 lenders and financial creditors against 8,180 crore of loans extended by them. However, the stock's declining and is marginally down by 0.2%.
Okay, well, yes, just a very marginal decline seen in infra. Ashish, REC, PFC usually tend to move in tandem, and today we are seeing a decent uptick come by in the stock. Your view on REC?
See, REC has been consolidating and it has given a positive breakout today. So I think the trend remains on the upside and we can expect it to move towards 156.70. Maintain a stop loss of 144.70 on the downside.
Right, so it's a sell coming in. In fact, 156 is where Ashish believes REC could move. Well, with that, we will have to wrap it up on this edition of the show. Ashish as well as Manav, thank you for joining in, with your technical strategy. Soumya, to you as well. We'll wrap it up. Coming up next is Closing Trades.